Hello and welcome back to another Norse mythology video. So the last video was all about the creation of the cosmos and of the first humans. This video, however, is going to be about the Aesir and Vanir war, so about gods. So as you'll remember from the beginning of my videos, there are two tribes of gods, the Aesir and the Vanir. So they have their differences, but generally they got along until things came to a very violent point. It all started with a mysterious female figure named Gullveig. She was a practitioner of Satyr, which is a magic that discerned and altered destiny. She would travel around the world practicing her craft, and it was in doing this that one day she came to Asgard under the name Hyder and practiced her magic for the Aesir. In addition to introducing the Aesir to Satyr, it seems she also introduced greed of a more physical nature, as her name Gullveig means gold greed, and Hyder means bright or clear, is another probable reference to gold, wealth, or prestige. So while the Aesir initially sought her services, they soon realized their sacred values were being pushed aside by their greed and the need that came from the desire for this magic and for what seems to be this physical need for this gold or whatever she may have brought to them. The gods then turned on Gullveig and tried to murder her. They tried to burn her 3 times, and all 3 times she was reborn. It's because of this treatment of her that led to hostility, that led to a war. So here's a passage from the poem Volupsa in the Poetic Edda that tells us about this. I remember the first murder ever in the world, when Gullveig was pierced by spears and burned in Odin's hall. They burned her 3 times. She was reborn 3 times. Often killed, not a few times. Still she would live again. They named her Hythe when she came into their homes, a sorceress who foresaw good things. She knew magic, she knew witchcraft, she practiced witchcraft. She was the pride of an evil family. The next stanza tells what results from this attempted murder. The first war. It goes like this. Odin let a spear fly and shot it into the fray. That was the first war ever in the world. The outer wall of Asgard was broken. The Vanir knew war magic. They trampled the valleys. The Aesir, known for their bravery and their warriors, used traditional combat, while the Vanir used magic. After a while of tiresome fighting, they ended up calling a truce, and as was customary, they exchanged tributes. So Freyr, Freya, and Nord went to live with the Aesir. These 3 seemed to live peacefully with the Aesir, although there were some bumps in the road, as we'll see throughout the rest of the tales. Honir and Mimir of the Aesir went to live with the Vanir, and everything was not smooth sailing. So while they were with the Vanir, Honir was able to dispense wisdom, but only in the presence of Mimir. This led the Vanir to believe that Honir was the wise and knowledgeable one and didn't make the connection that his answers seemed to become plain and repetitive when Mimir wasn't around. After a while, they had decided they had been cheated in the tribute exchange and beheaded Mimir as payback. The head was then sent back to Asgard, where Odin eventually embalmed the head and used it for wisdom in times of need. After a time, in lieu of fighting again, they came together to spit in a cauldron or kettle, which was also customary, and this created Kvasir, who was the wisest of all beings. This tale was summarized by Norse scholar E.O.G. Turble-Petra, who says, the Norse, Irish, Roman, and Indian tales seem to serve the same purpose. They explain how gods and men who have such different interests and ambitions as the agriculturalist, the merchant, the warrior, and the king can live together in harmony. So those who seem to serve nobility, like the Aesir, and those who are more on the farmer's side, such as the Vanir, can live together in harmony, as they eventually do after the war. So another very important thing to note is that while it doesn't specifically say, it is believed that Gullveig was actually Freya of the Vanir. This is because, according to another text, she first brought Satyr to the Aesir and taught it to Odin, and magic, as well as wealth, were 2 of Gullveig's defining characteristics, as well as Freya's. The final interesting thing about this tale comes from the text. So it tells us that the first war started when Odin cast his spear into the fray. This is just another way that Norse mythology manifested itself in the life of the Vikings, as battles during the Viking Age traditionally started when a spear would be thrown into the opposing army, much as Odin did during the first ever war. There you have it, the tale of the Aesir-Vanir War. Thank you for joining me for yet another video on Norse mythology. And guess what? We have another one next time. So the video next time is going to be on the meat of poetry and the creation of Thor's hammer. So I'll see you then. Literally everyone in my apartment is so noisy. It's just like, but why does your car have to be that loud?